Yo, what's up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP in the building. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Want to talk about some NBA news regarding Dillon Brooks and the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm reading an article here from ESPN. Memphis Grizzlies forward Dillon Brooks said he doesn't regret his comments about LeBron James despite the spotlight it put on the impending free agent during his team's first-round series loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. Brooks called James, quote, old after the Grizzlies win in Game 2 of that series, adding, I poke bears. I don't respect anyone until they come and give me 40. Brooks, who was fined $25,000 by the NBA for not making himself available to the media after all three of the Grizzlies' road losses in Los Angeles, told reporters Sunday that he doesn't think his comments provided extra motivation for James and that he doesn't regret making them. No, that's who I am, Brooks said. This is what he told, according to the Memphis Commercial Appeal. I don't regret it. I'm a competitor. I compete. In the game following those comments about James, Brooks was ejected 17 seconds into the second half when he was called for a flagrant foul too after hitting James in the groin area. He shot 31.2% from the floor and 23.8% from three-point range for the series. Brooks, who is 27 years old, is the longest tenured member of the Grizzlies, but is set to hit free agency this summer. Grizzlies general manager Zach Kleiman said he couldn't comment on the veteran forward's future with Memphis, but did note that the Grizzlies had to navigate, quote, self-created distractions during the playoffs. So I just read you that article from ESPN. Here's my problem with Dillon Brooks and the rest of the Memphis Grizzlies. They talk so much junk. They talk so damn much for a team that hasn't done much. And let me say this for the record, folks. I have zero problem with trash talking. I think trash talking is pure. It's natural for the world of sports. It's all part of competition, as long as you can back it up. And Dillon Brooks, from a performance standpoint, did not back it up. If you look at Dillon Brooks in the regular season, he had a career worst in field goal percentage. He shot 39.6% from the field this season. If you look at what he did in the postseason, in 6 games against the Los Angeles Lakers that series, he averaged 31.2% from the field, 23.8% from three-point range, 10.5 points, shooting 71.4% from the free throw line. Dillon Brooks didn't back it up with his play. And the problem with the Grizzlies is not just Dillon Brooks, it's also Desmond Bane, because Desmond Bane guaranteed that the Grizzlies would go back to Memphis for a Game 7. Clearly, that didn't work. And you look at Ja Morant, when he said, I'm fine with the West. They do an awful lot of trash talking, and they got to stop. So, what do I make of Dillon Brooks? He's nothing more than a front runner. When things go right, he has no problem saying whatever's on his mind. He has no problem with the media asking whatever question. But when things go wrong, he's nowhere near to be found, which is why he was fined $25,000 by the NBA for not following or participating, speaking to the media. And Dillon Brooks is just all talk, folks. He's just a front runner. He's the villain, and he's not even a good villain, because at least good villains, they can back it up with their play. Just as much talking as they do, they can back it up with their play. And Dillon Brooks can't back it up. So if you can't back it up with your play, shut the hell up. Nobody wants to hear what Dillon Brooks has to say. The only thing we care about with Dillon Brooks is, how are you helping the team win? Because he hasn't done that this season. Only thing Dillon Brooks is known for is his antics, his dirty plays. Of course, let's not forget what happened early this season when he hit Donovan Mitchell in the groin in the playoffs. I think it was game 3 or game 4, game 3 or game 4, when he hit LeBron James below the belt. Or when he injured Gary Payton's arm last year in the playoffs. Dillon Brooks is just nothing more than a trash talker who's not that good, who's all talk, a front runner, and a dirty player. He can't back it up, man. He can't back it up with his play. And this is why no one takes the Memphis Grizzlies seriously. And there has to be some serious changes with the Grizzlies organization. I do think that they need to move on from Taylor Jenkins. I'm not saying that Taylor Jenkins isn't a good coach, but I don't think he's the type of head coach that can manage this team. They need a strong, authoritative figure that can hold these players accountable. Because the Grizzlies, they do a lot of chirping, a lot of talking, and they can't back it up. And they need a strong, authoritative figure that can hold them accountable and that can remind them, what have you done? So, and I also think that Dillon Brooks may leave the Grizzlies this summer. He probably may end up somewhere else. I don't know where. That's a story for another day. But I think with Dillon Brooks, man, and the other problem that I have with Dillon Brooks, he had the nerve, the audacity to call LeBron James old and say, I don't respect anybody until they give me 40. Bro, you're not on LeBron James level. Shut the fuck up. And then plus, you talk about how you don't respect Draymond when years before, there was a video of you, I think, during your time in Oregon, idolizing and giving Draymond Green his praises. You're just not as good. You're not that good, Dillon. You're not LeBron. You're not even as good as Draymond Green. Whether anyone likes it or not, Draymond's going to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Look at his resume. Look at his body of work. And then the other problem I have with Dillon Brooks, you have the nerve to say that it's the media's fault for painting you as this villain? Bro, you did that to yourself. You did that to yourself with all that trash talking and shit, and you couldn't back it up. That's on you. You did this to yourself, Dillon Brooks. So stop blaming the media. Stop blaming and acting as if you're the victim. Accept responsibility on your part. This is on you. So, Dillon Brooks, man, he's at this point, he's a clown. I don't really like using the term. I don't really like using the term clown. But when it comes to people like Dillon Brooks, who can't back it up with their play, who does an awful lot of trash talking, who front runs, and not only that, who becomes more and more delusional. I'm sorry, he's a clown. And that's how I think about Dillon Brooks at this juncture. And I don't feel sorry for him at all. The criticism that he's received is well warranted. Anyway, folks, those are my thoughts about Dillon Brooks. I think Dillon Brooks has to go. I think the Memphis Grizzlies need a huge culture change. Someone who can hold the players accountable and help them to become better leaders. Because I do think they have talent with Jared Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, John Morant, of course. I do think with the Memphis Grizzlies, losing Brandon Clark and Steven Adams hurt. But they have a long way to go. They have a lot of growing up to do. And I think Dillon Brooks has to go. He needs to go somewhere else. And for people like Dillon Brooks and people like him who do an awful lot of trash talking, like I said, talk as much trash as you want, as long as you can back it up. And if you can't back it up, shut the F up. And if you don't back it up, expect criticism and expect people to give you that same kind of return. Those are my thoughts, folks. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. What do you make of Dillon Brooks? What do you make of the NBA fining him $25,000? Do you think Dillon Brooks is all talk? And so much more. Other than that, it's your boy Sports PSP. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless.